All right, these are three cold calling openers that I found to work the best in 2024. These are by far the most effective ones that I've tested, and they come out on top time and time again. So number one is, hello, this is Max calling. How are you doing today? Right? So this doesn't really leave anything up to chance, right? So they're either going to say, yeah, I'm doing fine. How are you? You say fine. Then you go into your value statement. They're going to say, oh, I'm doing okay, right? And then kind of say it with a bit of uncertainty. But what this allows you to do is not have any sort of back and forth with the prospect. They don't know that it's a cold call. They actually kind of think they could know you to some degree. But it allows you to go straight into your value statement, right? And it makes it really hard for the prospect to have that classic reactionary response where they just reject you immediately because they know it's a cold call, right? Because in the others that I'm going to tell you, it makes it pretty clear that it is a cold call, right? In this one, it literally makes sure that every prospect that you're calling that picks up the phone has that opportunity to hear your value statement, right? So this is a really, really good one to test, right? Because like I said, it allows you to go straight into it. And that's all we're doing with any form of outreach, and especially cold calling. All we're doing is just trying to get that value statement in front of as many people as possible. And this allows us to do that with almost 100% success rate when people actually pick up the phone, right? The next one is, hi, this is Max calling. I'm gonna be honest, this is a cold call. You can either hang up now or give me 30 seconds, right? So this is the classic pattern interrupt, right? Giving them the choice, being very assertive, telling them that's a cold call. And in the past, it's worked really, really well because not many people were doing it. Like I said, it was a pattern interrupt. But depending on what industry you're in, depending on how many cold calls that they receive, this is getting more and more used by the day. So a lot of people are using it. It doesn't really have that same reaction that a lot of people have, that a lot of people used to have to it. They laugh, they hadn't heard it before. It's unique, right? It's really getting straight to the point. Because obviously with the classic cold caller, they're not saying this at all, right? So it's really went against the curve. And depending on the industry you're in, how many cold calls they've received, it's going to be a good one to test. But be aware that it might be met with some sort of, depending on the niche that you're in, if they're getting hammered every day with cold calls, they're probably going to have heard this one quite a lot. So again, like the thing is with all of these three, you want to test them and you want to use whichever one feels most comfortable for you, right? Because if the niche that you're calling hasn't been hit up by multiple cold calls, especially with people that are watching this type of content, right, this is still going to work really, really well, right? The third one is something that I like to use. This is the one that I personally use. Hi, this is Max. I know I've not spoken before, but would you have any objection for me just to give you a quick overview of why I called? And then you can decide whether it makes sense to continue the conversation, right? Really, really straightforward, really simple, right? Doesn't leave anything up to chance. Is as direct as the last one, right? Tells them that they can hang up now and they can let me continue. But again, it's a little bit longer. It's a little bit more personal because I'm making it clear, but it's not that crazy pattern interrupt that the last one has, right? Again, this is really effective, but the key thing to keep a note with all of these three pattern interrupts that work really well, all of these three openers, is you need to use whatever one feels most comfortable for you, because obviously there's a level of fear, there's a level of pain avoidance within cold calling. And if we can mitigate that by basically making sure that everything you say actually feels natural for you to say, right, and feels comfortable how you're speaking, because that's going to drastically improve your tonality, right? If your tonality is off, it's going to be very, very hard for you to get any sort of results, right? Even if you're using the best script in the world. So it's going to improve your tonality. It's also going to make cold calling a lot more fun because you're not impersonating someone else, right? You're not talking in someone else's language. You're talking with terminology that you like to use that feels natural to you, right? Another thing is the sole purpose of a cold calling opener is literally to allow you to get onto that value statement, right? So all it is literally just saying an opener that sets almost the agenda for the call, but it doesn't really have to set the agenda for the call at all. It's literally just saying something that keeps the prospect on the phone for long enough for you to say that value statement, right? So that's why we sort of have two options. We can go straight into with something like, hey, this is Max calling, how are you? Where we can go straight into that value statement, right? Some prospects may feel like tricked by this because, again, it doesn't sound like you're making a cold call to them with that sort of opener, right? So you really have to test the metrics, but it is literally all about saying something that evokes enough curiosity for you to then go on and present that value statement to them, right? You need to say this with complete authority and complete confidence as well, almost with resolve, right? And it's getting to the point. Like with all three of these openers, you're getting straight to the point. You're telling them why you're calling. Like the first one, again, like it's a little bit ambiguous, but we're getting to the point with this, and again, it's just getting into that value statement as quickly as possible. So do whatever feels comfortable for you. Say it with authority, say it with confidence, say it with resolve, right? Because this is the first interaction they're ever hearing from you. You've got a very small amount of time to make a great impression on the prospect. And if you're saying it with fear and they sense any sort of nervousness or sort of like timidness, like a bit of shyness in your voice, it's really going to be very hard for them to respect anything you're saying and for them to perceive you as an authority for the rest of the time that you're cold calling them, right? So it's brief, it's to the point, serves the purpose of just raising enough curiosity for them to allow you to get onto that value statement. And you want to say it with confidence, right? Another thing, you want to make sure you're testing these, because all of these work very well, depending on your niche. Some may work better than others, but you're not going to know that unless you test. So test sufficiently, make sure you're doing you get at least 100 live pickups with each of these. Analyze which one gets the best results. Thing is, what we want to analyze is the percentage of people that allow us to carry on after we've said that value statement. Because if we're testing, if we get all the data, right, and we're tracking, we don't know how effective the value statement is, because we don't know if it's the value statement that's booking the meeting. We don't know if it's the opener that's booking the meeting, We don't know if it's the value statement. We don't know if it's the script. We don't know if it's your objection handling. So what we want to be tracking when making sure that you're using the best one here that actually gets you the best results and you feel the most comfortable with is tracking the percentage of people that allow you to carry on after you've said that initial opener, right? So track those metrics. Hopefully you've gotten some good insights in terms of what you can use, what you can play around with. By no means are these set in stone. You can make small tweaks to any of these depending on which one you like the most. But again, keep the principles the same, invoke that curiosity, say it with confidence, make sure it feels comfortable to you, and it should work very well. So that's everything for the video. If you want a free cold calling guide, literally covers everything I know about cold calling, there's a link in the description. You can book in a call with me as well to explore what we do as a business, and I'll see you in the next one.